This is Real English Radio, and this is the 10th time I'm going to be talking about absolutely nothing in particular on this podcast. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, this might not be the best episode to start with, and I say that because theoretically, this podcast is for people who are learning to speak English as a foreign language, and it's really more specifically for people who are at an intermediate or advanced level, because the way I produce this podcast is by exposing you to a bunch of different ideas and topics and speakers from different parts of the world so that you can get a much more realistic and natural exposure or understanding, I should say, of this language and the people who speak it. Because once you get past a certain level, you don't need to be watching YouTube lessons about phrasal verbs and prepositions and accents and stuff like that. You need to be consuming media, whether it's podcasts, books, movies, articles, music, any form of media. You need to be consuming stuff that was made by natives and for natives, or at least by advanced or proficient speakers, made for advanced or proficient speakers. So that's the way I try to produce the podcast. Try to do it in a way that's both educational and entertaining at the same time. At least that's the goal. And so that's not necessarily the approach when it comes to talking about nothing. That is my point. There's other episodes you can check out to get a real feel for the show. But for whatever reason, people seem to enjoy listening to me run my fucking mouth about nothing. I don't know why y'all like these episodes, but you do. And they're fun to make, so I'm going to keep making them, my friend. I wonder how long it's going to take to get to talking about nothing 100. I might just do one of these every day for the rest of the year. I don't know. But like I was saying, yeah, this might not be the best episode to get an idea of what the show is like, because typically in these episodes, actually always, every time I do one of these episodes, I'm just saying whatever comes to mind. I'm not really thinking too much about it. And I talk a lot of shit. So if you're easily offended, you shouldn't listen to any of the episodes I produce, because, you know, I just how can I say that without being corny? I tell it like it is, man. I keep it real, man. I speak the truth, man. You're not gonna censor me, man. Yeah, I say what I feel. You know what I'm saying? I keep it real. Like I give you the motherfucking deal. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, talking about nothing number 10, y'all. I do want to start by giving a shout out to all the OG listeners of the show. Everybody that's been listening since episode 1, rocking with your boy. Also the Patreon subscribers that have been supporting for the longest time now. Adriana out in Poland. I'm sorry, because I've known you for so long and I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I never thought to ask you how to pronounce your last name, and Polish names are very difficult to read for me. Or it's difficult to know how to pronounce them correctly. So anyway, much love to you. Francisco Santelis de Venezuela, Katy in Costa Rica, Victor Carrasco Perez in España. Much love to you, my friend. I hope everything's good with you and the new addition to the family. Eloisa Vanegas de Colombia, Albert Patiño de Colombia. Saludos. Much love to each and every one of y'all, man. All the other supporters as well. I know I'm leaving out a lot of people, but y'all know I love y'all. So one thing that was on my mind before I started this recording, the thing that inspired today's talking about fucking nothing, is my experience learning to make YouTube thumbnails. Now, I know that's random, and you might be thinking, why would I listen to this man talk about fucking thumbnails? But if you just stick with me, eventually I'll make this relevant to you, as I often try to do. Let's see if I'll be successful in my attempt. So, for the longest time, when I was putting audio-only versions of this podcast on the platform that is YouTube, I wasn't interested, or I didn't think it was important to invest in making custom thumbnails for each one, because it's just another place for people to discover the podcast. I know that most people get on YouTube not to listen to a podcast, but to watch a video. And since it was only audio, I was just like, whatever, just use the podcast cover artwork as the thumbnail and the image in every video, and whatever happens. But as I started producing the video version of the podcast, I quickly realized that if you want, well, first of all, let me break it down, because if you've never made YouTube videos, you probably haven't thought about something like this, even though it is relevant to you in some way. So the basic idea of YouTube is the platform creators want you to make videos that keep people on that platform. And so the longer you can keep somebody watching a video, the more the algorithm will reward you by recommending or exposing that video to more potential viewers. So if the video is 20 minutes and a viewer only watches it for 2 minutes, just 10% of the video, the algorithm might think, well, this probably isn't a very good video because they couldn't even keep them watching for longer than 10% of the total duration of the video. You see what I'm saying? So they might not recommend that video as much as other videos that keep people watching for 75% or 85%, 100% of the time. And before you can get somebody to start watching the video, you have to get them to click on it. This is where clickbait came from. You remember back in the day when clickbait was a real bad problem on YouTube? People would make these thumbnails that had nothing to do with the video itself. It was all about just getting somebody to click, because that's how you made money back in the day on YouTube. It didn't really matter how long they watched. It was just how many views you got, which is the same thing as saying how many people clicked on the video to watch it. That's why clickbait became a thing, or at least that's my opinion. And then I guess YouTube got smart and said, we need to create a new metric for how we reward people on this platform. We need to judge how long they can keep somebody watching. And obviously, if you use clickbait just to get somebody to click, and then the video isn't what you promised them with the title and the thumbnail, they're not going to watch very long. Thus, you won't get recommended to more people. I promise I'm getting to a point here. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. So anyway, the overall idea of the video is the most important thing, the story you're about to tell. After that comes the title. How do you quickly and concisely explain to somebody what the video is about? And then the thumbnail is like complimentary. You can visually show somebody a representation of the title and thus the overall idea of the video, and help them decide whether or not they want to watch that. Thus, thumbnails are fucking important, right? The idea, then the title, then the thumbnail. In my mind, those are the list of priorities when producing a YouTube video. So I started investing in thumbnails, trying to make these custom thumbnails for each episode, and I quickly got discouraged because I have no graphic design skill. I was not gifted with the ability to just make visually pleasing images. I'd like to think I have good taste. I know what looks good, but that's not the same thing as producing something that looks good, which is something that all critics know. We often say, at least in English, those who can do, and those who can't critique. Meaning, if you have the ability to do something, you're just going to do it. And if you don't have the ability to do something, and you're either super passionate about that thing, or you're just envious of people who can do that thing, then you're going to critique. That's why we have movie critics and food critics and book critics and life critics and shit. It's just people who can't do that thing that they're critiquing, so they just critique. And I don't say that to say that everyone's malicious and envious and has malintent. I'm saying that sometimes maybe you're just super passionate about movies and you have good taste, and you're able to see how that movie could be better, or what would make it even more iconic or whatever. So you're just offering your thoughts and opinions on that thing because you don't have the ability to produce that movie, but you still like to think that you know what would make it better. So you critique it. And I think that's a metaphor for life, man. Not just in art, but those who can do, and those who can't just talk shit. And those who have class and an actual understanding of things, they critique. That's how I would differentiate the three categories: the doers, the critics, and the fucking shit talkers. I want you to think about life in general and tell me if that's not a great metaphor for life. But anyway, I have no graphic design skill whatsoever, bro. I fucking suck shit at graphic design. So for the longest time, I just avoided making thumbnails. But once I started producing a video version of the podcast, I said to myself, I should probably invest in a thumbnail designer so that people actually click on the episode and watch it. But it just wasn't at the level where I felt it was necessary to invest money in actual custom thumbnails, because it's not that serious. It's not like a a podcast with 10 million listeners and I need, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm doing this because I want to do it. It's not a business or anything of that nature. So I didn't see any reason to invest money into it, at least not that type of money, because good thumbnails are quite expensive. So I figured I'll just do it myself. I'll at least do something better than just a random still image from the video itself. Because again, if you've never made YouTube videos, you might not know this, but if you don't make a custom thumbnail for the video, the YouTube algorithm is going to scan the entire video, look at every frame, and just choose a random frame and use that as the video thumbnail. And in my experience, it's typically a frame from the video in which somebody's smiling. If you make a video and there's somebody smiling in that video, that's typically the frame that's going to be chosen, because it's my perception that video thumbnails with somebody smiling or somebody with a positive emotion, it typically gets more. Excuse me. But anyway, this is a very long-winded explanation. I apologize. What I was going to say was I started trying to make thumbnails, and of course it was fucking terrible in the beginning. So I just did what I always do when trying to learn something new. I started studying the greats. This is the point I was trying to arrive at. When I started learning how to make thumbnails, I realized I sucked at it and just started studying the greats. And what I mean by that is studying people who do make great thumbnails. So I get on YouTube and just start looking at a bunch of video thumbnails. And then I identify the ones that I like and I'll take a screenshot. I created a folder. Got tens, if not hundreds of random thumbnails in this folder that are just visually pleasing to me, regardless of the video subject or who made it or anything like that. I like the way it looks. And then I started to analyze. What is it that makes these thumbnails so good? Why am I compelled to click on this thing? What is it? What about it is visually pleasing to me? Is there a face in the thumbnail? What color text are they using? What font is that text? How big is it in relation to the face that's on the screen? Is there a stroke around the text? Are they using drop shadows? What color is the background? Are they using vignette? Are they making the face brighter or darker? Is there contrast on the face? Is this person smiling? Are they making an angry face? Does the image reflect the title, or are they completely unrelated? Just starting to analyze all the details. Because again, as a consumer of YouTube videos, you may not even know why you're clicking on the thumbnail or why it's visually appealing to you. But once you start trying to produce the thumbnails, all those details come to the forefront of your consciousness. They're now relevant to you. So you start noticing these things. You know how they say when you buy a red car, for example, and after that you start seeing red cars everywhere. Same thing if you ever played Grand Theft Auto, you get into a red car and then miraculously red cars start appearing all over the city in the game. And they say, at least my understanding is that it's been said, it's because now it's not that there are more red cars on the road. It's just that now you're noticing them because red cars are relevant to you because you're driving one. So now I'm starting to notice all these things about thumbnails, and again, analyzing and looking for patterns. What is it that makes these things good? And once I consume enough of them, or I look at and analyze enough of them, you start to notice these patterns and internalize them. The best thumbnails are often extremely simple. They don't have a bunch of little elements that are hard to see from a distance, because often people are watching YouTube videos on their phones more than their computers, or at least that's my perception. And even if that's not true, it needs to look good on a phone and a computer screen. So it has to look good, and you have to be able to see what it is on a very small screen. So if you put a bunch of elements into the image, it's going to be much harder to see what it is you're really looking at on a small screen. So the best thumbnails typically have no more than 3 main elements. Typically a big face that's easily visible from a distance, some big text with no more than 5 or 6 words, because you can't fit that many words on a tiny screen, a simple or solid background, or something that subtly complements what's in the foreground. Again, the main subject of the image, typically a face, or some big object related to the video idea. The title, typically less than 50 characters, so that it fits completely on the screen and it's not cut off with those 3 dots. I believe they call it the ellipsis. You know, sometimes on a screen the title is too long and it gets cut off. So you want it to be short enough so that the whole title fits on the screen when somebody's looking through the browsing section on YouTube. So they can clearly see the title, they can see the thumbnail image from a distance or on a small screen and immediately understand what the video is about. Because you don't have that long. If they can't figure it out in a few seconds, they just keep scrolling to something that's easier to identify and understand. And that's what they click on. And that's who gets the ad revenue and the watch time, et cetera, et cetera. It's like that in all of advertising, basically. So you start noticing these patterns. And once you understand the fundamental concepts and internalize them, then you can start to experiment with them. Because now you're not guessing anymore. At first, I was just guessing. Let me just put some shit on the screen and see if it looks good and cross my fingers, which was leading to very poor results. But once I started realizing the patterns and what makes a good thumbnail, I started understanding fundamental concepts, simplicity. You want a bright thumbnail that's easily visible on a small screen from a distance. You don't want too many elements on the screen. You want somebody to understand the idea of the video before they even read the title. They should be able to look at the thumbnail and get an idea of what the video might be about, if not exactly what it's about. So these fundamental things now influence the decisions I make when creating a thumbnail. And so now to make it relevant to you, the reason I'm telling you that is because it's the same thing no matter what you're learning, whether it's graphic design or how to play football or how to cook or speak the English language or any language. It's the same shit. At first, it seems overwhelming and you might think, oh, I'm stupid. I don't know how to learn. I could never speak 4 languages. I could never communicate that clearly or effectively. It's just because you don't understand the fundamentals. You don't know what goes into making that thing or doing that thing. But once you make it relevant to you, you start trying to learn about that thing. Now you're seeing red cars all over the city. You understand how I'm trying to make the connection here? Now that it's relevant to you, you start to notice different shit. You could listen to this podcast all day, every day. And now that you're learning English and trying to improve your communication skills, you're going to notice different things about the way I or any other English speaker expresses themselves or ourselves. So once you study, you start trying to analyze the way people communicate and study the art of communication. You get introduced to the fundamentals of communication or the art of conversation. You start to recognize patterns. The way people will ask open-ended questions that encourage somebody to keep talking, or the way people will make statements that encourage somebody or compel them to respond. The things that make people defensive, the things that people find offensive, how to kill a conversation, the stupid shit that we do to ruin conversations all the time. You start to notice these things because now you're actually paying attention. And before you weren't. And so once you internalize these fundamental concepts, once you find a few people that you admire who speak and communicate in a way that you appreciate or that you want to communicate in the same way that they do, you will notice the patterns in the way they communicate and what makes them so appealing to you. The tone of their voice or their word choice or the way they can command attention, the way that they pause for effect or whatever it is, whatever it may be. You start to notice those patterns, and then once you internalize the fact that these are the things that make them so appealing to you, you can go and try to imitate those things in your daily conversations and just wait to see the results. Just start trying shit. And of course, you're going to suck at first. You are going to suck shit at first. And that's just something you have to accept. It's something that we all have to accept when learning new skills. I think it was episode number 60, learning and looking cool. That's what that whole episode was about. That's what this whole fucking podcast is about. Learning and looking cool almost never happen at the same time. So if you can accept that fact and just get through the suckage phase, the beginner phase where you just suck shit and everything is going horribly, if you can just persist and keep showing up and keep practicing and keep trying, you will eventually master those fundamentals. And once you master the fundamentals, you can then start to apply them in creative ways. Because now you have a true starting point. You have a foundation. Jesus Christ. A foundation. I believe fundamental and foundation come from the same word, but I'm not sure about that. But anyway, you have a foundation on top of which to build. Without a foundation, you're just guessing. You're in the fucking quicksand. Am I making sense? I don't know if this is making any sense. I feel like I'm rambling. But I'm trying to make this connection, bro. I'm talking about nothing. If I had a week to think about this, I probably would have written a script. But fuck it. Hopefully you're following me. So that's the point, is if you can just get through the beginner stages of sucking, if you can take the time to study the greats and what makes them great and internalize those fundamentals, you can start to apply them yourself. That's why a lot of artists, I don't know who said this originally. I believe Picasso is credited with this quote, but I'm not sure if it came from him. It really doesn't fucking matter. The quote is, you must learn the fundamentals of the art form. Or no, I'm fucking it up myself. You need to learn all the rules so that you can then break them. And that might sound corny to you, but I believe it to be true. The idea here is that you must learn the fundamentals of the art form so that you can know what is it that makes art good, because there are patterns, recognizable patterns that you can apply to express your idea even more beautifully, whether you're writing a song or creating a painting or writing a poem or a movie or whatever it is. There are certain fundamental concepts that will make your shit better, regardless of how good your original idea is. There are still better and worse ways to express the idea, more and less appealing ways to express the idea. And you need to understand the fundamentals of the art form in order to know the better and worse ways to express your idea. Am I making sense? So you have to learn the rules first. Like I said, with thumbnails, no more than 3 elements. Simple background, a big, bright face, typically with a positive facial expression, no more than 6 or 7 words in bright, bold text on the screen so that it's easy to read on a small screen, something that complements the title that's no longer than 50 characters, like just certain things. These are rules. And you can break them. We see them broken all the time. You see YouTubers getting millions of views with shitty thumbnails that they put no effort into, shitty titles that don't make sense, but that comes later. That comes later. You must learn the fundamentals first. And then once you know what makes something good or bad, then you can apply your subjective opinion, or otherwise your own version of your creativity, to the art form itself and create something that's uniquely yours. This is why we study the greats, because we can learn so much from studying other people who have mastered the art form. I don't know if any of that just made sense to you, bro. I thought I was, before I started recording, I was like, oh, I'm about to be on some deep shit. I'm about to draw this connection between learning how to make YouTube thumbnails and learning how to speak English. Safe to say, mission not accomplished. I gave it my best, Sarge. I gave it my best. Yeah, anyway, what I'm saying, fundamentally what I'm saying is, if you need to master the fundamentals before you can move on to more advanced stuff. It's just the process for learning anything and everything. So if you can master the fundamentals of not just language, but communication, then you will be setting yourself up to become a great communicator. Then you can find your own style of communicating, because it doesn't matter where you're from or what your first language is, or if you're an introvert, an extrovert, an ambivert, or whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. The fundamentals of good communication, of good conversation, will not change. So if you can master those fundamental concepts, then you can apply your extroverted or introverted personality, your open culture, your more closed off culture. Like, you can use those fundamentals to express more of yourself in a way that people will actually understand, or at least be receptive to. Because another thing that you'll realize is, if you're communicating with somebody trying to prove a point or get them to listen to you, even if you're right, even if you are correct in what you're saying, if you don't know how to say it in a way that they will receive and understand, you're not getting listened to. So what is the point? What is the point? That's why I'm always telling you, bro, study the art of communication. So few people invest the time into learning how to talk, and more importantly, listen. It's so fucking crazy that we spend our whole lives talking to people and we never stop to realize it is a skill. There's a reason some people are more of a pleasure to listen to. There's a reason some people are more of a pleasure to talk to. It's because they're good communicators. And communication is a skill that can be studied and mastered. That's my humble opinion, based on experience, not just fucking theory. It's my humble opinion. If you go back and listen, you can still find these on my YouTube channel, actually on Spotify as well. Search the Life in English podcast, the first podcast I produced. Go back and listen to episode 1 through 20, 1 through 50, and listen to those episodes and compare them to the ones I'm producing today. It's like night and day, bro. Because just after doing it again and again and again, and analyzing what I'm doing and trying to make corrections and just being persistent with it, I just kept going and kept going. I get better at talking to people. After teaching hundreds of people to speak English, now I understand how people learn languages. After learning English, well, not English, that doesn't count. After learning Spanish and then Portuguese and then Thai, I know how to learn a language. And it's by studying and mastering the art of communication. It's not by studying and memorizing fucking phrasal verbs or prepositions or grammar rules. That's not the way. Of course, all that stuff is important. Of course, it's important. But it comes after a fundamental understanding of communication, because there are tons of people who don't, actually, the majority of people don't speak with textbook grammar, and they're still understood by everyone they talk to. There are people that didn't finish high school out there giving speeches to hundreds, if not thousands of people, running businesses. So it's not just a academic education that you need in order to learn to speak English. You need the fundamental concepts of the language, where the noun and the verb and the adjective goes, what is a phrasal verb. But by talking to people, you will start to internalize how we structure sentences, how we use phrasal verbs, how we use curse words, how people tend to communicate, how much information they share, how open are they, how closed are they. You need to start studying their culture, which influences the way they communicate. I know that I'm kind of all over the place. If you've been listening to the podcast, you know this is just, I don't know what it is. It's just the way my brain works, bro. I jump from thing to thing. So I hope that I'm not so incoherent that you can't follow me. If you're listening, then you're following me. So I just don't know how else to pound this into your head, bro. It's communication. And this is something that you can learn. Don't tell yourself that you're dumb or you don't know how to do it or what to do. I'm giving you the fucking secret. The same secret that they would charge you $300 for. 3 payments of $99.99 or some shit on Udemy or whatever bullshit. Just study the art of communication. Put in the fucking work. Be consistent. Do the thing that you wish to be able to do. If you want to learn how to talk eloquently and articulately, you need to speak more. Hang out with people who express themselves well. Listen to podcasts produced by people who talk good. You know what I mean? Learn how to listen with the intention of understanding what's being said and not just responding to what's being said. I could talk for the next 3 hours about communication alone. I swear to God, bro. I could talk about this all day, every fucking day. Not because I'm a master, but because I'm in it every day and I know how important it is. And you're learning to speak English. The whole point of this podcast, right? We're learning to speak these languages, and we're also, oh, I don't know how to do it. What am I supposed to go? It's like, bro, I'm telling you. I'm fucking telling you. And it's such common sense when you think about it. How'd you learn to speak your first language? Not only speak it, but speak it in a way that is, what's the word I would use? Not only natural, but speak in a way that people from your culture are going to understand. Where do you think you got all of your gestures from? Or the tone of your voice when you express certain ideas? Or the way your voice inflects when you ask questions or what? I mean, these aren't great examples, but all the little details about the way you express yourself. Where do you think you got that from? From your environment, bro. Just like watching the people around you. That's how we learn to communicate. You didn't go to fucking school for that. Anyway. That took a lot longer than I expected it to. I was just planning to tell you I learned how to make some thumbnails and you could apply that to learning English. But, yeah, this is why I write. Because if I don't write a script, if I don't sit down and organize my thoughts first, man, I'll be here all goddamn day. That's the problem with podcasting alone, is you often forget that you are in fact talking to somebody. You just can't see them or hear them. So you just keep talking and talking and talking and talking. Whereas if I was talking to somebody, I'd be much more mindful of how long I've been talking. Isn't that is that not a pet peeve of yours, bro? Just the type of person who will just, you ask them a yes or no fucking question and they will give you a 7-minute answer. Jesus fucking Mary and Joseph, bro. It's what the fuck, bro? What the fuck? I can't stand that shit. Somebody with just no self-awareness just keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. As if everybody loves to hear them speak as much as they love to hear themselves speak. Shut the fuck up, dude. You know what I mean? Oh, it drives me insane. It's rude, bro. It's rude to assume that you're just I don't know what's going on in people's minds. I'm not gonna be cynical about this. I don't know what the fuck people have going on in their minds, but it's just the assumption that people want to hear you speak for 8 minutes uninterrupted, knowing that you also don't want to listen to somebody for 8 minutes uninterrupted, because as soon as they start talking again, you're gonna cut them off and then keep talking. You fucking bro. Yo, work on your communication skills, bro. Whether this is you or not, work on your fucking communication skills. Bruh. Can't stand a fucking long-winded goddamn motor mouth. Just shut the fuck up, dude. Shut up. The fuck up, bro. Not even talking about shit, man. Motherfuckers just be bad. Don't even be saying shit. That's the problem. If you were actually saying something, if you had a point to prove, I would sit there and listen, bro. I don't have TikTok brain, all right? I can pay attention for longer than 30 seconds. I really don't believe that TikTok has ruined everybody's attention span. I'm sure that has fucked a lot of young people up. But one positive thing about the TikTokification of media on the internet, and when I say TikTokification, I mean our tendency to now try to fit everything into a 30-second video because we believe that's how long people can pay attention. One positive thing about that is it forces people who are choosing to communicate with others to get to the fucking point. And I know that sounds hypocritical and ironic because it took me, I don't even know how long, probably 30 minutes to tell you what I learned from making YouTube thumbnails and how you can apply that to learning English. I know that sounds hypocritical, but I told you from the beginning I'm talking about nothing. So if you're here, that's on you, bro. All right, don't fucking come at me. Back to my point. One positive thing about the TikTokification of the internet is it now gives people a reason to get to the fucking point, bro. You ever realize that? If you go back to media that was produced before TikTok was a thing, how fucking long it would take people to get to their fucking point in a YouTube video or a podcast. Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. It's a beautiful sunny day. I got my coffee here. I'm sitting in a leather chair. I have on brown shorts and flip-flops. And let me tell you what I saw this morning on the street. Let me tell you what my cat did. Isn't that the fun? Oh, hey man, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. How about you? Bro, I don't give a fuck about none of this shit. This is a video about how to use Microsoft Excel. I don't give a fuck about your flip-flops or your goddamn coffee, nigga. Get to the point, bro. Got shit to do today. Jesus fucking. So now creators of all kinds have an incentive to get to the fucking point, bro. Like this, I can't stand. I cannot stand having my time wasted by another individual. I cannot stand it. Fucking A, bro. Oh, dude, it makes my blood boil. Just these self-obsessed fucking, just just shut the fuck up, you piece of shit. Shut up. Woo! Shut up, dude. Can't stand that shit. It's a goddamn 13-minute intros. Get to the fucking destination here. What are we here for, bro? Give me what you promised me with your title and thumbnail. Just give it to me, bro. I ain't got time for this shit. I don't got time for this shit. Fucking A, man. So that's one benefit. It's just a bunch of fucking blabbermouths are now not getting the exposure that they wish they could get because they're taking too long to get to the fucking point, bro. Got time for this shit? Anyway, y'all don't want to hear all my goddamn negativity, do you? No, you don't. No, you don't. Another thing I was thinking about recently, this is something that I've heard a few times in the past, and I don't know why it was on my mind early. Look at me, taking too long to get to the fucking point. Another thing I was thinking about a couple days ago is the idea that The traditional 30, 40, 50 year career is something that I believe is slowly dying. Because I'm a millennial. I'm at right on the tail end, right at the end of the millennial generation. I was born in 95. And I guess that's the cutoff for the millennial generation. So I'm saying that to say my parents' generation, my grandparents, certainly my grandparents' generation, back in their time when they were 18, 24, 26, it was just a normal thing in many industries. You would start at a company in your early 20s. Either you skip college or right after college, you get a job at hopefully some great company, and you would work that same job or at least in that same company, getting promoted and all that stuff over the years, but work for the same company for 20, 30, 40, 50 years and then retire. Because jobs, it's just my perception. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's just my perception that jobs were a lot more secure back then. So it was a normal thing to stay at one company and climb the corporate ladder or move up the ranks, as they say, without even giving a second thought or without giving any thought to switching companies or bouncing from one job to another. Nah, you would get in, fucking hold out for 50 years, get all those nice benefits, fill up your pension and your 401k. You know what I'm saying? Get that nice retirement check, go chill on a beach out in fucking Thailand or some shit, right? But I just don't think that's a thing anymore. I don't think that's a thing. A lot of companies won't even be open for the next 30 fucking years. Once AI and the goddamn billionaires crush them ruthlessly, might I add. Again, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking shit. Don't take this seriously. I'm just saying, I get the impression that working at one company for your entire career is not really a thing anymore. It certainly won't be in the future. I really don't think so. You see that a lot in certain industries. It's my perception that in the tech industry, this is quite common. Especially if you're good at what you do, you might jump from Apple to Google to Facebook to Netflix to fucking whatever. I'm not saying that's the majority of people. Again, I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's my perception that people will jump from company to company to get either better salaries or just more experience at different companies doing different things, slightly different positions or whatever. And that's, let's call it common practice these days. Even though a lot of people still think it looks bad on a resume, it's not obvious to me that that's the case. And I just think in the future, the employee will be much less loyal, which is a strange word to use when it comes to a job, as if you guys are on the same level. You're loyal to your brother. You're loyal to your family, your friends, your partner. That's what you're fucking loyal to. Your employer, they're just paying you, they're just giving you a paycheck in exchange for a job. Fuck them niggas, bro. You know, you're not, it's a strange word to use to me. But yeah, people will be less loyal to their employers moving forward because they know they're expendable. Why would I sacrifice my life, the better years of my life, in 8 to 10 to 30, I don't even know how many hours, at least 8 when you're at work. But what about the 1 to 3 hours you spend just to get to work? So what is that? Up to 11 hours of your day? 11 out of 24 hours? Theoretically 8 more for sleep. What is that? 19? Still got to eat, wash clothes, spend time with family and friends, go to the gym, read, scroll on your phone. How much time per day do you actually have to build your life or develop yourself as a person? And so I'm sure a lot of young people are just realizing it's not worth it, bro. Because back in the day, if you work 40, 50 years for this company, you get a nice pension and be able to live at least comfortably, if not lavishly, comfortably off that retirement check. Who the fuck from Gen Z is going to be able to say that in 50 years? You know what I'm saying? And they realize that. So they're saying, why would I dedicate the better years of my life and the better part of my day to these greedy fucks who are going to pay me $10 an hour when I got a master's degree? I got 2 master's degrees. You trying to pay me $13 an hour and my rent is $1,800. Fuck is you talking about? So now they're just chasing the check. They're like, I'm going to go with whoever pays me the highest. Matter of fact, I'm going to try to start my own business or be an influencer or do something online and work for myself, make my own money. Because even that is more secure. At least if I don't never become rich, I can live a life that I'm happy to be living on my terms, which of course comes with a whole different set of responsibilities. A lot of people think that working for yourself or being an entrepreneur is somehow easier than working for a company. It's certainly not. It's certainly not. But that's a completely different topic. That's not the point. What I'm saying is, I imagine a lot of younger people are going to be less loyal to companies because they know it's just the exchange is not worth it. It's one-sided. And I don't say that to sound ungrateful, like companies are doing nothing for their employees. I mean, they are paying you. You volunteered for the job, so there's only so much you can complain about. But obviously, if that's the only job available, you're going to take it. And it doesn't mean you have to like everything about it either. So I repeat, the point was, I just don't think the 30, 40, 50-year career is going to be a thing in the future. Because we also have to acknowledge that the world seems to be changing much faster than it did when my grandparents, who are now in their 80s, when they were in their 20s, the world wasn't changing as quickly, or at least that's my perception. So we have to be much more agile in the way we react and adapt to the world. I don't know. What do y'all think? And which do you prefer? Would you prefer to stay at one company for 50 years? Or do you like the idea of switching careers every 10 years or switching companies every 2 to 3 years? Or I don't know. I'm just curious to know what y'all think about it. And speaking of working for yourself, being an influencer and all that type of shit, another thing I want to ask y'all is, would you like to be famous? What do y'all think about that? Would you, like, imagine if the only way you could be rich was by also having to be famous? Would you still want to be rich? I gotta be honest, I don't think I would. Nobody wants to be poor, but if the only way to become rich was by also being famous, I would think twice. I don't understand why anybody, I guess I can't say I don't understand. It's just a figure of speech. I personally, I can't imagine myself wanting to be famous at this point in time. The reason I say that is because once you become famous, you cease to be a human. You're not even a person anymore in the majority of people's eyes. You're just this figure. You're this object of desire, this thing that people idolize or deify or scrutinize or attack and criticize and shit on and stalk and monitor and talk about. You're not even a person anymore. You lose your humanity to a certain extent. Or I shouldn't say you're robbed of your humanity, but that seems like a fitting word here. You're robbed of your humanity. People stop looking at you like a human and they just start talking about you and treating you like an object. I don't know if y'all know who Speed is. I Show Speed, I think is his alias or whatever. I don't even know what he does, bro. I think he's a YouTuber, TikTok. I don't know. I don't even know what the kid does, honestly. But he's super famous online, especially with Gen Z. And I saw a video of him recently out in Norway doing whatever it is he does. And it had to been thousands, if not tens of thousands of people. That's an exaggeration. Definitely thousands of people. And he was just trying to get from, I think, the mall to his bus or his car or taxi or whatever. And just got mobbed by hundreds or thousands of people just going crazy, smacking him and grabbing his clothes and touching him in inappropriate places, just mobbing him, robbing him of his personal space, literally putting him in danger. And it just seemed like it was just pure chaos, bro. It was pure chaos because all these people were just so obsessed with this kid. So obsessed with the image of this kid, I should say, not with the person, but the image of this person that's perceived to be famous and important. And so I just gotta get a picture. I just gotta hug him. I just gotta touch him. I just gotta talk to him. I just have to exert my will onto this person, this thing, because it's not even a person. We're taking nothing into consideration, nothing else. No consideration for how he might feel about it. whether he's introverted or extroverted, whether or not he wants to be touched, or whether he wants his personal space to be invaded, whether he wants 1,000 cameras flashing in his face. Like, none of that gets taken into consideration when people are dealing with any celebrity. It's weird, bro. It's weird how people start to act like fucking animals when they get around somebody that they're obsessed with, somebody who's famous, a celebrity. You know what I mean? It's weird, bro. Or you see them at a restaurant eating with their family and you just have to because you're just so fucking selfish. So fucking selfish. You have to go and interrupt that man's dinner or that woman's dinner with their family. So, okay, I just gotta get a picture. Can you sign my shirt? Can you do this? Can you do that? It's like, nigga, don't you see me here eating with my family? Get the fuck on, bro. What the hell is wrong with you? Leave me alone. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's different for everybody. I just think that shit is rude, bro. And it's self-interested. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. And I would never want my life to be like that. Going everywhere I go, I got people stopping me, not because they love me as a person. They don't know shit about me. They just love what it is I do. And I guess I shouldn't be complaining if somebody loves what I do. That's always good. But still, the fact that I then cease to be a human in their eyes is not good. You can't really trust anybody because you don't know if this person's really a fan or if they got a knife in their pocket and they just wanted to get close enough to you to stab it into your fucking liver or some shit. They're pretending they like you, but they really hate you and just waiting for an opportunity to get close to you. Now all your friends and your family members calling you for money and shit. I know you got it like that. I seen you driving in a Ferrari on Instagram, man. Give me a couple $1,000, bro. I know you got it. Come on, man. Ain't we family? Hook me up, bro. It's like, nigga, where were you all those goddamn nights when I was writing those podcast episodes or recording those YouTube videos or in the gym shooting those basketballs or on the field doing those free kicks, in the studio recording those songs? Fuck you, nigga. Talking about let me hold something. Fuck you, bro. Nah, man. And that's what I'm saying is you cease to be a human. Now when you get money, you're not a human, you're a bank. When you get money, you're not a person, you're a photo opportunity. You know what I'm saying? That shit is weird, bro. Why would somebody ever want that? Like I said, you can't trust nobody. Everybody's a potential threat because you know you're a target now. Not only that, but you're being monitored and stalked all the fucking time. Oh, Neymar seen going and getting out of a Ferrari, going to a club in Paris. Like, nigga, who gives a fuck? Who cares? Who cares? Every single thing you do is under the microscope now by a bunch of fucking broke-ass, miserable little bitches, bro. Just looking for something to criticize. You know, it's weird how we put celebrities up on this pedestal and use them as the standard for what a human should be. Well, Neymar shouldn't be going out to clubs and drinking and paying for hookers and shit. He should be representing Brazil and the national team, setting an example for all kids. It's like, what are you talking about? Just because he's famous, you now have a right to decide how he lives his life. Oh, well, it's me that buys the tickets to the football match and the football show. I'm paying his salary. It's like, okay. By that logic, your employer should be able to decide what you do with your life and post on social media and who you have sex with, how you spend your money, you fucking idiot. Shut up, bro. Shut the fuck up. So stupid. Why would anybody want to be famous, bro? Oh, man. It's so bizarre. Just random people around the world show the best version of themselves just because you're famous. Or the worst version of themselves just because you're famous. But if you were just a random person on the street, wouldn't give a fuck about you. Why is that? I don't mean to get romantic or nothing like that. I'm just saying, what's up with that? What is up with that? I don't know, bro. Maybe there's something about human nature I don't understand. But what I'm saying is I would never want to be famous because I would never want to be an object in the majority of people's eyes. Like I can't even go out in public without getting mobbed and harassed by people. You know, and then if, like I said, if you're out at dinner, you just walk in the streets, just trying to enjoy your fucking day. You know, being a professional footballer is stressful. Being a movie star can be stressful. Being a rapper or whatever, it can be stressful. Being anybody who's in the public eye, even politicians, it can be stressful. And you just want to walk through the fucking park and enjoy your day. And you can't take 7 steps without another person coming to harass you and tell you how you should be doing what you do and living your life and spending your money and what you did wrong and all this shit. Somebody you've never met before. Just walking up to you and harassing you as if they have a right to tell you how to live your life, or they have a right to your time and attention just because they're a fan. And if you say, oh, I don't want to really be bothered, can you please just leave me alone? I just want to enjoy my day. Now it's like, oh, really? Is that how it is? Well, fuck you, Neymar. Piece of shit. Neymar doesn't value his fans. Fucking asshole. He doesn't even appreciate his fans. Fuck that guy. It's like, dude, what are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? I don't know. It's weird, bro. It's weird. It's fucking weird. It's weird. I don't know. And I say this at the risk of sounding arrogant, but I experienced my little 15 minutes of fame a couple of years ago. Like, I learned that from posting on TikTok, especially back when it was first really exploding during 2020, 2021. There was a time when I was getting like 10 million views a month on TikTok. So just countless people discovering me and what it is I do and appreciating what it is I do and everything. But at first you really appreciate it. It feels good to get love from people, or what you think is love from people, and it's not love, but that's what you think it is, and it feels good to receive that, especially if you didn't get that much as a kid, or you don't get that much right now. To get that from a bunch of people on the internet, it feels good to feel valued by other people. I think everybody can agree on that to some extent. But the problem is you respond to that in a positive way, and you start trying to show love back to people. And then, at least in English, we say, if you give people an inch, then they're going to take a mile. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to ask for a glass of milk. You know what I'm saying? There's many different ways to say that in different languages, but the idea is, if you just give somebody a little bit of something good, a lot of times that's not enough for them. They won't be satisfied. Then that's all they needed to start asking for more. It's like, oh, he's going to give me a little bit. Let me ask for a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. Instead of just being appreciative for what it is they've been given for fucking free. And I had to learn that. To this day, I get so much of that, bro. And also, when you're in the public eye, especially if you're choosing to be yourself and not put on this front or this persona, you're just being yourself. And you present yourself in in a personable way. What often happens is people start to feel like they know you. They've seen so many of your videos or watched so many of your movies. They've heard so many of your songs, listened to so many of your podcasts, or whatever it is you do, watch so many of your football matches or whatever. They think they know you. They feel familiar with you just because they've consumed so much of whatever it is that you put out for the world to consume. And I don't know who said this originally, but I came across this phrase a couple of weeks ago, which is, familiarity breeds contempt. And the simplest way I can say that, if I were paraphrasing, I would say, the more familiar somebody feels with you, the better somebody feels they're getting to know you, the more flaws they start to notice in you, and therefore contempt they start to feel for you. In other words, they start to realize you're human. Because again, when you're famous, you're not a human. You're this figure, this image. And so when they consume this image for years and years and years, and then they meet you in person, and you're not the exact same way they imagined you after consuming that image for so long, they get disappointed. They realize you're just a human, and that's one piece of you that gets exported to the internet for people to see. So then they get disappointed, and that contempt for you starts to build up. Man, fuck that guy. He's not perfect. He's this and he's that. He's not all that. He's not as good and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he's good at this, but what about all these other flaws? Because familiarity breeds contempt. And I noticed the same thing by trying to, what would I say? Just be cool with people that I interact with online, or that I meet on Discord, or that listen to the podcast or whatever. Because people feel so familiar with me, they think they know me. And therefore they talk to me like we homies or something like that, as if they truly know me personally and can just say whatever they want in whatever way they want. And then when I show them that's not exactly the case, they get their feelings hurt. And now it's like, fuck Tony Kaizen, that dude's an asshole, or whatever. So now I just prefer not to interact too much with people, generally speaking, which is unfortunate. As somebody who values community and wants to connect with people and shit, you realize that most people don't look at you as a person and don't really want to connect with you. They just want your time and attention. And they feel that they're entitled to your time and attention. And once you show them that's not the case, they get their feelings hurt and it's like, fuck you, bro. Which is why I said it was never love to begin with. It was never love. It's just this twisted form of admiration. I don't even know what to call it, but it's not love. That I do know. And so I don't understand the desire to be famous. I don't understand that. Why would you want that? To have to live life in that way, bro. What the fuck, man? It just sounds miserable. I don't know. Anyway, another thing, because I have bullet points in front of me, stuff I wanted to touch on in this episode. Another question I got for y'all is, what are your toxic traits, bro? Everybody's got them, all right? Don't sit here and tell me that you're just a saint levitating above the rest of us in the fifth dimension or some shit. You've been enlightened and ascended up to the level of the gods, all right? None of us are perfect. We're all toxic in our own twisted ways. What are some of your toxic traits, bruh? What are they? The first one that came to mind when I was thinking about that question was how would I describe the ability? What's a good word? What's a good adjective? My unwavering ability. My unwavering ability to cut somebody off and act as if they never existed. That's one of my toxic traits. You know what I mean? Whether it's a girlfriend or somebody I've known for 10 years or a fucking whoever it may be. If you cross me, betray me, you do something to cross the line, I have no problem just cutting ties and acting as if you never existed. We may have had a great run, a 10-year run with tons of memories, and we cried together, we smoked weed together, we fucking went on trips, and goddamn, I was there for you when you got kicked out your house. I let you sleep on my couch and you gave me the shirt off your back and shit. I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't give a fuck. You cross the line, it's just over, bro. It's over. Cut the ties and you're fucking the expression is you're dead to me, which is like you don't exist anymore. It's not even that you're dead to me, because I'm not the type of person that just because you did me wrong or we're not friends anymore, I don't wish you harm or anything bad. It's like, hey, I wish you well, bro. Best of luck to you. Just stay the fuck over there. You know what I mean? I don't know you anymore. You don't exist in my world. I see you on the street. I walk right past you, bro, as if you're not even there. Fuck you. You know, it's contradictory. I don't mean fuck you like I hate you, but just like I don't care. I don't care. And I view that as a toxic trait, you know, because as an adult, you should be able to sit down and have a dialogue with somebody and come to some kind of conclusion with them and at least communicate why you're cutting ties, what it is they did wrong and how it made you feel and all that. But I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't got time for that shit. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you, nigga. Nah, bro. Because it's like, if I've made it to that point, it's not like I haven't communicated up to that point. Like, if I got a problem with you, I'm going to let you know immediately. And if it continues to be a problem, and I've told you 2 or 3 times, all you're communicating is that you don't care. So why would I then communicate to you again, this is the problem, and this is why I don't fuck with you no more? I already told you. And you showed me, no matter what you said, you showed me that it just wasn't important. So obviously the relationship ain't important. So I'm going to just go ahead and end it, bro. It ain't no hard feelings. I hold no resentment in my heart. I'm not holding grudges out here. It's just like, whatever, bro. Whatever. Peace. The fuck we talking? What do we got to talk for? You know what I mean? But I do believe as an adult, you should be able to, you should, before you cut somebody off. And I don't know if I believe this. I guess there's something in me that makes me think that I should, as an adult, be able to sit down and have a dialogue about it and make it clear this is over and we're done and blah, 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 and then peacefully go our separate ways. Fuck that shit, bro. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Is that a toxic trait? I don't know why. I just view that as a toxic trait. Just the ability to fucking just disappear on niggas without any explanation or reason, not reason, but any explanation for it or communication with it or anything like that. It's just done, gone. You know what I mean? That comes as naturally to me as breathing does. I don't even need to give it a second thought. It's just done. I think I thought for a long time about where that comes from too. I think it's because I grew up so detached from everyone around me. Like the environment I grew up in my house, and then in the communities that I was a part of, I just grew up so detached from everybody and also constantly disappointed by everybody, which is something that it's an internal problem. Disappointments come from expectations, right? So it comes from having expectations of people and then just constantly being disappointed by people and realizing how fucking fake and manipulative and how many liars there are and just bullshit ass people, bro. And you just get tired of it. I shouldn't say you, I just got tired of dealing with people. You know what I mean? And I know that not everybody's like that. And I also know that I'm like that sometimes, not fake, but definitely on bullshit from time to time and do things that are wrong or stupid and all that shit. So it's more of a self-hatred than anything. I don't remember where I heard this, but somebody said whatever you hate about the things that you find in other people that you hate or can't stand is because it's just a reflection of you. That all that shit is somewhere inside of you, and you're finally seeing it in front of you. It's not being put in your face. It's an external entity that you can now see and experience. And it's just because, like they say, the way you see the world is who you really are. Like the way you see the world is a reflection of you. Which is why if like you have a positive mindset and you look for the good in people, you're gonna find it. If you have a negative mindset and you look for the bad in people, you're gonna find it. All that shit, I guess, comes from the same place, the same idea. So I don't remember where I heard that, but it makes sense to me. And so I do think on some level a self-hatred of how stupid I can be sometimes, or the mistakes I can make, or how I might disappoint myself from time to time. I really don't know. But back to what I was saying, I think that ability to just fucking cut ties immediately without a second thought or any emotion behind it, I think it comes from that. Just growing up detached from people in general and sitting back and observing life, listening much more than I talk and watching much more than I talk. You just have I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I have a different perspective than 97% of the people I meet or have met in my time on this planet. Because I just grew up in a less than traditional way. Or at least I like to think so. And when you grow up detached from people and from communities and from family and friends and all that, and you spend a lot more time by yourself or at least observing rather than interacting, I don't know. I think it does something to the way you see the world, man. I think it does something to the way you see and treat people as well, the stuff that you value. And so I wouldn't trade my childhood or my upbringing for anything. It made me who I am today. But one of the side effects of that is just a lack of interest in people's bullshit, bro. I have such a low tolerance for people's bullshit. The lies and the deceit and the stupidity and the fakeness and the manipulation and I don't have the energy, bro. I don't have the energy. I don't care enough. Like, I don't give a fuck about you, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird because I can't even believe I'm telling you this because it sounds very cold, doesn't it? But it's the truth. It's the truth. I have such a low tolerance for most people because people are so fucking stupid, bro. Including me. I don't mean to sound arrogant, including me. But it's much easier to deal with my bullshit than it is to deal with other people's bullshit. You know what I mean? So yeah, if I had more time to think about it, I could have expressed that idea much better. But that's one of my toxic traits. What are your toxic traits, bro? What are the things that you need to work on about yourself in order to become a better version of yourself, a better husband or wife or father or mother or friend or employee or boss or fucking whatever? What are your toxic traits, bro? What are the things that you can't stand about yourself? And why haven't you fixed those things yet? You know what I mean? I think about that sometimes. And do you need to fix those things? Because we're not perfect. You know, obviously the idea of constantly working on yourself is a good one. But sometimes, I don't know. Like I said, that's my toxic trait, but I'm not sure that it's actually toxic. I just think it's a form of self-preservation. Just the refusal to deal with people's bullshit. I'd rather just stay to myself. It's more peaceful. You know, what the fuck are we arguing for and going back and forth and fucking having the same conversation again and again, or me explaining what you did again when you know exactly the fuck. I already explained this to you, bro. What are we talking for? Fuck that shit. I don't got the energy for that, bro. So I don't know if that's toxic, but I do think refusing to communicate is a toxic trait. But like I said, if I've arrived at the point where I'm no longer interested in communicating with you, it's because I've already tried so many times. So what the fuck am I going to waste my energy for? That's what I'm saying. You feel me? It's just the way I see it. I don't know, bro. I don't know. You know, another thing I noticed, bro, about social media. I often talk about social media in a negative light on this podcast, and it's not all bad. But one thing that I've noticed, which is speaking of how fucking dumb we are, one negative effect of social, but especially TikTok, just due to the format, it's got so many people out here acting like they're fucking life experts. You know what I mean? People that will get it, they'll pull out their fucking smartphone, turn on the front facing camera, and just talk to the world as if they've got all the fucking answers, telling everybody else how they should live their lives. When really they're just projecting their misery and insecurity onto the world. That's what I want you to understand, is the majority of people online just giving unsolicited advice to a bunch of strangers is because they need to be giving that advice to themselves. But they can't do that, so they have to externalize it. This is what projecting is. You can't deal with your own shit, so you put it onto other people. You project it from inward or from inside outward. You know what I mean? And so many people are just out here fucking projecting, fam, telling you how to manage your money, telling you how to run your relationships, telling you, women out here telling other women how to deal with men when they don't even got a fucking man. Dudes out here telling other dudes how to deal with women when they don't even got a fucking girlfriend or a wife. Ain't never had a relationship. You know what I mean? We need to do this in society. We all need to. It's like, no, nigga, you need to. Fuck is you talking to me for? You don't even know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? People, it's always the ones that don't know what the fuck they are talking about who talk the most. As ironic as that sounds on talking about nothing. But that's always what it is, bro. The dumbest fucking people tend to talk a lot. They talk the most and the loudest, bro. And you realize, like, as you get smarter and the more you learn about not only the world, but yourself, which is almost one and the same, depending on how you look at it. But the more you learn, the smarter you get. Typically, the more insecure you get. Because you realize how fucking dumb you are. You realize how much you don't know. How much you say shit without really knowing what you're talking about. That's why podcasting is so good for you, bro. Just even if nobody ever listens to it, sit down for 20 minutes a day or an hour every week and just talk shit. Just start talking. Every time I listen to it talking about nothing, I'm like, damn, I don't know what the fuck I am talking about, bro. I'm just talking shit. You know what I mean? And once you learn that about yourself, you stop taking yourself so seriously and you realize how many other people don't know what the fuck they are talking about. Just relying on exaggerated statements, relying on hyperbole to prove their I can't even call them points because they often don't have a point. They're just saying shit, telling everybody else what they need to do, but they never tell you what they themselves are doing to make the world a better place or how they're managing their money, what their financial situation is like, what their love life is actually like. But they're telling the world how they should be managing their finances, dealing with other people, what their love life should be like, how to date, how to dress, how to this and how to that. Everybody's a fucking expert on fucking everything. It's like, shut up, dude. Shut the fuck up, man. Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, yeah. That's just exhausting, bro. Just shut the fuck up and live your life, man. Why are we telling other people how to live? This is what I struggle to understand. Why are we telling people how to live, man? Mind your fucking business. Jesus, dude. It's fraudulent behavior. You know what I mean? Somebody who's really about that shit out here fucking walking the talk. They're not telling other people to do shit and live their life. They're just doing their shit, bro. You know what I mean? Just doing their shit. Not worried about telling other people how to fucking live. Fuck out of here. And this, what I'm saying is, what makes you think, what makes you so sure that you know what is right? I'm not saying that we can't have opinions. We all have opinions, obviously. I mean, listen to my podcast. I'm just spouting off my opinions, but I'm not telling you how to live your life. The only thing I would ever tell you to do is think, bro. You don't have to agree. You don't even have to listen. Just think. That's it. But you will never tell me, or you will never hear me telling you how to live your life. I might use phrases like you need to or you have to, especially when talking about learning languages. That's generally because I know what I'm talking about. Been doing this for a long time. I know how it works. But how to live your life, bro? I would never tell you how to do that. I don't understand. It's just, I guess, because you get to sit in this room by yourself and you're just talking to a phone. You can say things so confidently without anybody challenging what it is you're saying, without anybody fact checking you or calling you out on your shit, asking you how you know what it is that you know or where you got that information from, how you arrived at that conclusion. There's nobody to challenge you in that way, so you can just say shit. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, shut the fuck up, man. Just so much noise. You know what I mean? It's just so much noise on the internet. So much fucking noise. And nobody's making any sense. Nobody's got any fucking signal. As corny as that sounds, that's what it is, bro. That's what it is. Also, just like people copying each other. That's another thing I noticed. Like, you'll see one video, you see this on Threads, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. People just copying each other's posts. They don't even have original ideas. That's even worse. Getting online and spouting off these ideas so confidently, and they're not even yours. You don't even have an opinion or a fucking personality. You're just a carbon copy of somebody else that sounds compelling. You know what I mean? You see that shit so much. So many people lack their original thought. They're just fucking copies of some shit that they've heard so many times. And if they say it long enough, they start to believe it and say it more confidently. And that, in their minds, means that they're right. Say, well, shut up, dude. You know what I mean? Type of people always quoting statistics that they heard in a podcast. Well, 3% of women and fucking shut up, dude. How do you know that? You don't know that. Shut up. You know what I mean? Shut the fuck up, bro. Where's the originality? I would much rather listen to somebody who's wrong but thinking for themselves than somebody who's just repeating some shit that somebody else said because it sounds smart. You know what I mean? At least then we can have a debate because I'm talking to you and not the fucking catalog of ideas that you memorized after watching 100 TikTok videos. You fucking clown. I'm getting way too negative. This episode is falling off the rails. Enough ranting. The next thing I'm gonna say is not a rant. It's just a question, a genuine question. Because I don't know what your TikTok feed looks like, but I see a lot of dark shit. Because I guess I'm interested in dark shit, you know? Conspiracies and true crime and fucking horror stories and murder mysteries and bank robberies and dark philosophy and I don't know, just shit like that. And TikTok knows that about me at this point. And I've seen so many videos detailing different court cases of these people who came up with this amazing scheme to rob this bank, or these people who, like these kidnappers running sex trafficking rings and shit like that. How the schemes they use to kidnap children or women or whatever the fuck and sell them off into some system or whatever. I mean, dark, crazy shit, bro. Captured on video or real court cases that have already been decided and stuff. You know what I mean? And just one particular type of crime that often gets reported is sexual assault. Women going to the police or the authorities, whatever, claiming that a man has assaulted them sexually. He tried to rape me, or he touched me inappropriately, or he's harassing me, he's stalking me, or stuff like that. But let's just use rape. I mean, just the darkest, dirtiest, worst of the worst things. Let's use rape. And so a woman will accuse a man of raping her. She goes to the authorities and says, this man tried to make me have sex with him against my will. Or matter of fact, not even tried. This man raped me. And so what happens is then the man gets arrested on charges of rape, sexual assault, and then they do an investigation. They're going to get both sides of the story. They're going to review camera footage of where she claims that this thing happened. They're going to do DNA samples. Was there semen at the spot of or the location of the crime? And DNA, like I said, DNA testing, blood samples, or whatever the fuck they do in forensic technology and crime investigations. You know what I'm talking about. And then they're going to come to a conclusion. Did he or did he not rape this woman? Which is a fantastic thing, because before that type of stuff existed, people could just rape people and there were really no consequences for that. And I'm laughing. Obviously, it's not funny, but I know how that sounds when I laugh about something like that. But you know what I mean. So there was no consequences for that in the past. And obviously, it's great now that they have the technology to discover whether or not somebody was actually raped. This person is brought to justice, etc., etc. That's fantastic. But what I wonder sometimes is, why is it that when a woman falsely accuses a man of something as serious as rape, she doesn't suffer any consequences? You ever notice that? Because a woman could just say, it happens all the fucking time, bro. I've seen so many videos like this and heard so many stories about it. It's a real thing. I'm not making this up or exaggerating. Two people in a workplace. They work at the same company in the same office, a man and a woman. If this man just happens to has a personality that this woman doesn't appreciate, or he even goes as far as saying, I'd like to take you out on a date, or let me get your phone number, or something like that, and she doesn't appreciate that, she could easily, I'm not saying that this happens all the time, but it definitely happens, she could easily go to her boss and the authorities and just claim that he tried to rape her. Or maybe he even goes as far as taking her out on a date, and he does something that she doesn't like during that date. He doesn't pay for dinner, or he makes a comment about the way that she dressed, or he leans in and tries to kiss her and she doesn't want it, and then he just moves back and just says, okay, well, I'm going to take you home, takes her home, and that's the end of it. She could easily claim that she was raped by him. At which point he's going to get arrested. There's an investigation or whatever. But the problem with that is, now whether he did it or not, whether he's guilty or not, his reputation is destroyed. Because in most simple-minded people's mind, just the simple fact that you're being accused of something so horrific means that there must be something there. Otherwise, nobody would ever just randomly accuse somebody of rape, right? Women are incapable of that, right? Simple-minded people think this way. And so just by somebody accusing you of something like that, your reputation is fucked. Now everybody knows you've been accused of raping a woman. Whether it's true or not, people are going to start treating you as if you have, in fact, raped a woman. Even if you're innocent and it's been proven, you were still accused. You know what I mean? So now the doubt is in people's minds. So again, if the whole investigation is done and it has been scientifically proven with DNA samples, with video cameras or whatever, that this man, in fact, did not rape this woman, nothing happens to her. Everybody just goes on about their lives like, oh, false alarm. My bad. My bad, player. Go ahead back to work. We know that they just suspended you from work for 6 months with no pay because you got accused of raping somebody. Or even worse, we fired you because of those accusations. Good luck getting back into the job market, now labeled as a rapist, even though you were proven innocent. Good fucking luck. Good luck showing your face in the community. Good luck showing your face online. Good luck trying to start a business or a YouTube channel or a podcast when you were known as the guy that was accused of rape. You know what I mean? And nothing happens to the woman who just lied about being raped. I mean, something's really, really, really serious, bro. She just lied about it. For whatever reason, she just fucking lied about it. To ruin his life, destroy his reputation, make him lose his job, or what the fuck ever, bro. For whatever reason, they do it. And I just find myself wondering, why doesn't she get punished? Shouldn't she go to jail? For slandering his name? It's either slander or libel. I don't remember the difference between the two. But she's putting fucking dirt on his name, bro. Serious dirt on his name. And nothing happens to her, bro? She doesn't go to jail? She doesn't go to fucking prison? I feel like if you falsely accuse somebody of a crime, regardless of the crime, you should get the jail time that they would have gotten if proven guilty. So if you accuse somebody of stealing your phone, whatever punishment they would have gotten for that, you should have to go to jail for that same amount of time because you just fucking lied. You could have destroyed that person's life for a crime they never committed. Whatever the punishment for rape is, however many years, that woman should have to go to jail for that many years. If you accuse somebody of assault or whatever the crime, and you lie about it, they never did anything to you, you should have to go to prison for that same amount of time. Women who falsely accuse men of rape should be registered as sex offenders. The same way men, or I guess women too, but the same way any sex offender has to register as a sex offender once they've been convicted of that crime. Any false accusers of any crime should then be classified as committers of those same crimes, bro. That shit is wild that accusers don't get sent to jail once it's been proven they lied. That shit is so fucking wild, bro. I remember years ago, this is probably I don't know, bro. Unless it doesn't matter, but 2016, 17, I don't remember the exact year, but the hip hop artist, Freddie Gibbs, my favorite rapper, he was doing a tour out in Europe, going from city to city, doing shows, performing his songs to promote his music and everything. And I don't know all the details of the story. I just know what has been told about the story or the coverage of the story. And so basically some of the guys that were with him on tour, employees or just friends, security guards or somebody, went back to a hotel room with these girls and they did what they did. They had their fun or whatever. And so then they left the city because, again, they're on tour. Freddie Gibbs and his entourage and all his employees go to another city. And then after the fact, this woman, I believe it was in France, if not Austria, I can't remember. This woman claimed that she was raped by Freddie Gibbs himself. So then the authorities go and arrest Freddie Gibbs on the charge of rape. Put him in jail for over 3 months because he's been accused of rape. They got to figure it out, see if he did it or not. This man luckily had the money to do so, had to hire 11 different lawyers that spoke German, first of all, to represent him in court and prove with DNA, with forensic technology, that he never even had sex with the woman. She had sex with somebody in his entourage or some shit like that. He was finally proven innocent after like a year of fucking court proceedings or whatever, but he spent over 3 months in an Austrian jail cell as an innocent man just because she said that he raped her. Now his reputation is tarnished. Of course, it's all over the news. Freddie Gibbs accused of rape. Freddie Gibbs in jail on accusations of rape. It's going around the world at light speed on social media, in the news, and all this shit. American rapper rapes European woman or whatever the fuck. Never did it. Well, proven innocent. We obviously don't know what the fuck happened. Proven innocent in court. And what happened to the woman that accused him of rape? Fucking nothing, bro. This man lost who knows how many millions of dollars, reputation forever tarnished. Didn't even want to go back to Europe to perform shows anymore because, again, like I said, when you're famous, you're a fucking target, bro. That's what I was talking about. A perfect example. And it's just like, what happens to her, bro? What the fuck? That's so fucking weird, man. That's so fucking weird. That's why people don't like government or the judicial system or police and shit like that, because at the end of the day, bro, human beings are corruptible. They lie. They break the rules. They practice favoritism. Some of them are racist, discriminatory. I mean, we're human beings, bro. And so a system that is theoretically meant to function one way ends up functioning in different ways depending on who's being put through that system, which is obviously wrong. And I don't know, bro. It's just something I think about. Because I saw a couple videos like that on TikTok today, so it's just something that was on my mind. I'm like, how the fuck does this piece of shit not get punished for lying and potentially destroying this man's life? The fuck? The fuck, bro? Or like police officers who plant drugs on criminals during traffic stops. You're just trying to live your goddamn life, driving down the road. They hit the fucking lights on you, pull you over, license and registration, please. Oh, I think I smell alcohol in the car. I think I smell a little bit of marijuana in this vehicle. I'm gonna have to search your vehicle, sir. At that point, they got probable cause. According to the law, they have a right to search your vehicle. You don't got a fucking thing in the car. No guns, no knives, no weed, no crack, no meth, no pills, no liquor, no Nathan, bro. But because you're black or because you're brown or because you're poor, these pieces of shit who are in possession of drugs themselves are then going to put those drugs into your car and say, oh, I found this in your car. Oh, that's not mine. That wasn't, oh, well, we found it in your car, buddy. You're going to jail. There you go. Popped on a drug possession charge. Because these corrupt cops planted drugs in your vehicle and there's nothing you can do about it. That's why police have to wear body cameras now. That's exactly why. Because we've always known, but the judicial system finally accepted that people are corruptible, bro. People fucking lie. They cheat. And so they put body cameras on all police officers so that there's an actual recording of every interaction with a police officer. So you can't say, oh, he did this, he said that. No, it's on camera, nigga. What the fuck are you going to say? It's on camera now. You know what I'm saying? At least in theory, that's the way things work now. But even now, I highly suggest y'all check out police body cam footage on YouTube. Just search that specifically. Police body cam videos on YouTube and just watch the crazy shit that goes on during interactions with police and civilians, man. It's fucking wild, bro. And this is just the stuff that's caught on camera. It's fucking wild. I'm not trying to say all cops are bad right now. I'm saying some people are corruptible and therefore we have body cameras. What's even crazy about that is you often see videos where police will turn off their body cameras or turn off the sound on the body camera. And I don't understand how that's not illegal, but that's another subject entirely. What I'm saying is if you watch some of the footage, bro, it's, man, the type of shit that police officers have to deal with on a daily basis in some areas, man, it's, wow, dude, why would you ever want to be a police officer responsible for dealing with some of the most dangerous individuals out in our society? Got guns and knives and drugs and shit in the car, man. Fucking kidnappers and rapists and murderers, psychopaths, and fucking hey, man. Jesus, dude, why would you want to do that? Just putting your life in danger every goddamn day. For what? 40K a year? Nigga, please, bro. Hey, they got my respect, man. Obviously, there's a lot of fucking corrupt ones out there, but they're not all bad, bro. They get a really bad reputation online because of the power of media and because there are a lot of bad ones out there, but they're not all bad. There's a lot of good ones, man. A lot of good ones. cops, firefighters, paramedics, and all those people putting their lives at risk every day. There's a lot of good ones out there, and they put up with a lot of shit. A lot of shit, man. That's all I'll say about that. It's fucking wild. I was watching some videos on TikTok earlier today from the special forces. I can't remember the words, but it's BOPE, BOPE in Rio, Rio de Janeiro. And it's like the special police force in, I don't know if it's for all of Brazil or just Rio, but they were showing footage of the fucking battles these guys get into with drug traffickers and other criminals in the city, just fucking gunfights out in the middle of the street, shooting automatic weapons and shit in the streets. Just straight war zones, bro. Every man's fucking wild shit every day with the shit, man. Just trained to go. Every day you leave the house knowing this might be it, bro. This might be it. Fucking M4 strapped to your goddamn side, just you're looking for the danger, bro. Just trying to clean up your streets. Get the criminals and the traffickers and the drugs and everything off the street so that your kids can walk to school without catching a stray bullet or some shit like that, man. It's wild, bro. It's wild, the shit some people have to deal with. You know what I mean? Fucking crazy. And I know it's not just Brazil, it's all over the world, but specifically in Rio, that's where the videos were. Or in the videos I was watching, that's where they were. That's what I'm saying. It's, man, fucking crazy shit. Crazy shit. Bro, just even just the sounds, you know what I mean? Like, if you never heard gunshots, you might have heard them in movies and shit. You might have played video games before, gone to a gun range or something like that. I just mean in your neighborhood. You imagine growing up in a neighborhood where it's a normal thing to hear automatic rifles firing off every week. I can't even ask you to imagine what that's like, because how could you? Imagine coming from a place like it being such a normal thing that you're accustomed to the sound of automatic gunfire, although you've never been a police officer or military personnel. You've never been a soldier, and you're accustomed to the sound of automatic gunfire. The fuck, bro? Just bah, 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 bah. Again and again and again and again and again. Knowing that at any point, one of those bullets could travel right through your wall and hit one of your children or some shit, man. Fucking A, dude. Fucking A. Crazy shit. It's crazy shit. Puts things into perspective too, man. It's like, I don't know, like all of us in the first world, like some of the shit that we complain about, dog, it's just so trivial, so stupid, bro, you know? And everybody, it's like, that's the classic thing to say, right? Is you don't know what it's like to truly suffer. You don't know what it's like to live in a war zone, or to be poor, or to wear the same shirt for 13 days in a row, to share half a bowl of rice with your whole family. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to say shit like that. It's the classic response to anybody who's privileged, as if they chose to be privileged. It's not anybody's fault they were born rich or poor. You're just born into the circumstances you're born into. And I think I was listening to the Joe Rogan Experience earlier today, and he was expressing the same idea. It's like, listen, the hardest thing you've ever experienced is the hardest thing you've ever experienced. Whether that's trying to walk home from school without getting shot or robbed by somebody, or somebody not putting whipped cream on your fucking latte. If that's the hardest thing you've ever experienced, it's the hardest thing you've ever experienced, bro. You don't really have any control over that. If you were born into a rich family in the fucking suburbs, living in a mansion, and you've had a maid your whole life, wearing fucking gold chains and the newest PlayStation, and you got a car when you were 12 years old, taking trips to Bali and shit at 13, going to Princeton and Harvard because your parents can afford that, you know, you're living life on easy mode. That's not your fault. It is what it is. So if the hardest thing you've ever experienced is they didn't put whipped cream on your latte, well, that's the hardest thing you've ever experienced. It makes sense that you would lose your shit and complain and make a scene about something like that. It doesn't mean it's right. It just makes sense that you would do that. That's all I'm saying. It makes sense. But it's one of the best things about talking to people from different places and traveling to different countries or even just different cities, even just another neighborhood in your city, which can be dangerous, obviously. But what I'm saying is getting exposure to the world outside of yours, getting exposure to other lifestyles, other socioeconomic situations, if I can call them that, just to understand that the world is much bigger than you think it is. And I don't say this in the classic way, but to understand that people do have it worse than you do. I don't say that in the way people normally say it, which is, oh, stop bitching. People in Africa have it worse, so stop complaining. Because that's it's such a stupid thing to say to somebody, even if it is true. But when I say it, I'm just saying to understand, to give yourself a better perspective on life. It is a good idea. And one of the benefits of being able to travel to other places is that you understand that your circumstances are not the only circumstances. And when you realize people do have it much, much, much worse, the things that you thought were bad or were a problem or inconvenient don't really seem that important anymore. Become more thankful, which sounds kind of twisted, that you would have to see people suffering more than you in order to appreciate what you have. But that's the way it is, bro. That's the way it is. I don't know why it is that way, but we tend to not appreciate things until they're gone or until we understand that the majority of people don't have the things that we have. I don't know why it is that way, but that's the way it is. So even if you can't travel to a foreign country, that's why I say talk to different people, bro. Talk to black and white and brown and yellow and red people. Talk to rich and poor. Talk to gay and straight. Talk to Europeans and Africans and Asians and Arabs and Latinos, and like, talk to everybody, bro. Listen to their stories, understand what it's like to be them, what they have to go through every day. It gives you a better perspective on life, how the world works, where everybody fits into this game that we're playing and shit, how you fit into the game, how good you actually have it, you know? I don't know. I feel like I'm preaching, saying a bunch of bullshit at this point. But it is what I think. I'm not lying to you. It is what I think. But I feel like I sound like a goddamn reverend or some shit. I sound like a motivational speaker just spouting some shit that sounds good. It's not my intention. I often do that on Talking About Nothing. And I often realize that on Talking About Nothing, and I make the same comment I just made. I'm not on some motivational life is beautiful bullshit. Because it is beautiful, but not for everybody, right? Certainly not for everybody. Life gets dark, bro. It gets fucking dark. Like really, really, really dark, man. I'm not even gonna get into that. I'm just saying it gets dark. Anyway, how we doing on time, bro? I'm just fucking talking my face off. 1 hour and 38 minutes. It is time to get the hell up out of here, bro. Thanks for sticking with me through all of my rambling and my bullshit. Much love to you. That's going to be Talking About Nothing number 10 in the books, my friend. Thank you for listening to Real English Radio. I'm your host, Tony Kaizen, and I'm going to talk to y'all soon. Peace.